Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Respawning podcast. Today, it's just the two of us. It's
Just
like
the
the
two of
PS.
us.
That's us getting a copyright claim straight away. Thanks, Hav. Good one. But yeah, it's just the two of us. It's like reigniting the PS Pod days.
Indeed.
Hav is with me, myself, Mikey, and we are here to talk all the good video game stuff. How are you, Hav?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm happy we've actually made it to a third episode this time
I'm
round.
shocked.
And it's been,
I'm in.
it's been like I said, every 2 weeks since we stuck to every 2 weeks. It's happening. I'm happy. I'm just happy that it's a regular
I,
new
I'm
podcast.
happy that you're happy.
So
Your
yeah,
happiness just, and it makes all our listeners happy and all our viewers happy, I'm sure.
exactly. Yeah. So
Uh, so let's just go straight into the news that I'm sure will keep you happy, and
no.
and that's the Xbox have come out and said, and this isn't an exact quote, but nothing's professional here, and have basically said they do not need to release Bethesda games on PlayStation, and I think this is a response to people who have been saying like, oh. They have to release them on PlayStation, otherwise, how are they going to make all that money back? Forgetting that it's Microsoft and they've got billions and billions of
Yeah.
pounds to spend. But yeah, I think they just want to come out and say, look, we're under no obligation to release these on PlayStation, and we don't need to. And my opinion is kind of like, why would they?
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, I think it's just them sort of flexing their muscles here and saying, if you want to get guaranteed Bethesda games, buy an Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I think we briefly spoke about it before, but
Yeah, we did.
if you're going to sign a deal, then it makes sense to, stick to it because you're keeping the Xbox happy. I'm in two minds about it because it makes sense from a business point of view, but I hate it because I've never owned an Xbox and I don't plan to ever buy one. And now I really don't know if I'd buy one just to play Elder Scrolls 6.
I'll play Mystic Mike here and tell you your future. Yes, you will.
Do you think? But it's like,
Okay.
considering, who knows what's going to happen over the next 3 years. I don't have loads of time for the PS, especially when I go back to work properly for both the PlayStation and the Switch, and obviously the PlayStation 5 hopefully soon. Do I need another console? And, I'm still getting through games that I'm still, well, I don't want to spoil what I'm playing, but I'm still getting through games that I have had in my library for ages that I've never played.
Yeah, but I suppose this is what Xbox is trying to do, aren't they? They're trying to push their way in as the secondary console. Pretty much what your Switch is now. They want ideally, or they're happy anyway. Your PlayStation being your big beast that gets all the attention, the Switch being the one you play when you're out on the bus or out of work or whatever, and then the Xbox just being that little secondary console that you'll play certain games on. And I don't know, to put it this way, they've said obviously they don't have to bring them to PlayStation. I personally still think, my opinion hasn't changed since we talked about it a few weeks back, that they will come to PlayStation, but at a real later date, like minimum a year later, if not later than that. So my question is, if that's the case, I don't think they'll ever come out and say they'll definitely come into PlayStation in a year's time. But if it's rumored and, they haven't outright denied it, and it looks like it will come to PlayStation in a year, maybe a year and a half, would you wait?
Yeah.
For an Elder Scrolls, let's say, for example.
Yeah, because everything I play rarely is release stuff. I mean, yes, of course, I played Final Fantasy and Avengers on release and Last of Us 2, but a lot of the games I'm playing in the background, like Dark Souls, have been out for years, and I don't care. Now, it might be different because Elder Scrolls is my favorite series, as it is Fallout. It might be different. I might feel more compelled, but again, at the time because the digital version of Xbox is quite competitive, isn't it? So
yeah,
if I've got a bunch
definitely.
of spare money at the time, then who knows? I might get it just so I can play those games. But it just seems a bit mad. But then I did kind of buy the Switch so I could play like a handful of Nintendo games, and I just happen to be playing a lot more now.
I'll put it this way: how much is the digital Xbox again? The Series S. It's like
200 something.
Dirt cheap, and I can't remember now.
It's really cheap.
Yeah, I think it's 250. So
yeah.
And these Bethesda games are probably going to go straight on Game Pass. So if they, if you're seeing all the adverts, let's hope that by the time that Elder Scrolls or Fallout or whatever it may be comes out, that the world's somewhat back to normal, and we're not having to live paycheck to paycheck. Would you then, maybe see these adverts on the side of buses, see them on TVs and all the rest of it for an Elder Scrolls and just think for 250 quid. Like if you're going to buy Elder Scrolls new anyway,
I think it would be worth it if it was like.
Then you're only paying an extra 100 and something.
I think it's worth it not just for one game, but for the Bethesda library of games. I've played most of their games, I would say, since like, the PS3 and PS4. I've played most Bethesda games and loved most of them.
Well, you're a massive fan of them, yeah.
Yeah,
you've always
huge.
Been the one.
And like
the two of us that loves them.
Oblivion is, I would say, one of them. It was the game that turned me into like a proper gamer, I would say. Like before that with the PS2, I love video games, but I'd never played loads of RPGs, and I was a bit more of a casual gamer, even though I love my Game Boy and blah blah. And then Oblivion came out, and all of a sudden I was into these massive RPG action games, and it was a completely different thing. And that's what kind of changed my whole perspective towards video games. And in a way, I never played them little, but it changed the types of games I would play, I would say.
Yeah.
Apart from like Final Fantasy games. But anyway, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a muscle flex in it, this. Yeah. It is just, and they know that it's going to cause these types of conversations. And there are going to be so many people that would say, oh, what will you and me do? But, we don't affect anything really. It's going to, the majority of people will just get in the hype and, want to play that game there and then on release day. And if you can get a Series S for like under £300, people are going to do it. So I just think it's the whole thing. We talked about it when the Bethesda acquisition first announced, but I just think it's a genius move. I think out of all the studios you could have gone for, the third-party studios that were available, what better one than Bethesda? It's such a genius move.
Ones that are available, so ones that Sony haven't already bought in the last couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, third-party ones. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think it's a great move, and even me, someone who doesn't really care for Bethesda games that much, I'm still looking at it thinking I'll get an Xbox eventually. It might be 2 years down the line, 3-4 years down the line, who knows? But eventually I will get one. To be honest, I'll probably end up getting one in a couple of years' time for Hellblade. So
if it's
just Ninja Theory,
just to play single player games, we could just split the costs and share the Xbox. Just a thought.
That ain't a bad idea.
I know, right?
Like, just come see each other every couple of weeks and trade an Xbox.
Oh, have you finished Fallout yet, mate?
Hellblade 2's coming out in 1 week. You best finish Fallout. I need the Xbox back.
That could work.
Oh, not a bad idea. Another thought that come to mind. It's like Microsoft has pretty much said that they want Game Pass to be on everything. Might we see a situation where, and I can't see it being any time soon, but maybe 10 years down the line, where you'll be able to play Bethesda games through Xbox on PlayStation? Like, will there come a time where they
doesn't that completely eliminate
PlayStation
the console war? And because Xbox is still trying to fight for second, and they know they're going to be second. They're already second with the next gen sales. So
exactly, they're fighting a losing battle with
hardware. But
why not ditch hardware and go to software?
Don't you think they're going to eventually? So you think they're going to become a software company instead of a hardware company?
I think
take less of a cut of the money.
Depends how this generation goes. I think if they don't make up any ground, and if hardware sales, you look at their hardware sales in Japan, they're non-existent. If their hardware sales continue to trail behind Sony throughout this entire generation, I wouldn't be massively surprised if they'll still sell Xboxes, don't get me wrong, but it'll be very much a secondary thing for them. And it'll be like, well, if you just want to come directly to us, we can do you a deal where you get Game Pass free with whatever hardware deal we can give you on an Xbox console, but you can just get Game Pass on anything. You can get it on your TV, you can get it on your phone, you can get it on your PlayStation, you can get it. It'll just be like Netflix, but for games. And that way you're paying them, although you've bought a PlayStation, you've paid however much for your PS5 or your PS6 at the time. At the end of the day, you're still paying maybe £10 a month for Game Pass, or maybe Game Pass will be like £15 a month. This was on PlayStation,
They could jump on the Stadia kind of route and make it more of
Stadia,
a Netflix service of gaming. Once it becomes a bit
that's
more,
what they want to do,
better.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
they're already pushing xCloud on phones and stuff, aren't they? And if that works, I just wouldn't be surprised if that's the way it ends up going. That Xbox exclusives become, instead of them relying on people to make that massive purchase on hardware, they just hope that people take out their software on other hardware and other consoles, and that's the way they go forward. Just an idea. It could be, but it won't be anytime soon. Like, I don't think we'll see
but then like this Bethesda thing could change that completely. It could flip it on its head.
Absolutely, yeah. I reckon before the big sign that it may one day happen will be if it happens for Nintendo, because obviously Microsoft have a better working relationship with Nintendo, and I wouldn't be surprised if they'd have to obviously be streamed. You can download these games, but if you start being able to stream Game Pass on a Switch or whatever the next Nintendo console is, then that to me will be the first sign of they're trying to go on every piece of hardware.
Yeah.
But anyway, just an idea. Moving on. You are dressed for the next story, Have. Because we're talking the Avengers game.
Yay!
So they've come out and they've come out and Square Enix have released this massive statement. I didn't read all of it. I sort of brushed through it, and Luke gave me the bullet points. And basically, they've apologized for what was a failure of a launch. They've gave us a few goodies to spend in the store. Thanks, guys. And basically announced that everything's been delayed. The next gen update's delayed. The add-ons are all delayed. And basically, while they try to get their shit together, everything's delayed. Here's some free currency to spend or some free outfits or whatever it may be. To me, this is a shambles.
Oh, it's like, so look, they're like, look, we acknowledge we messed up the launch, guys. It wasn't, there's been bugs and glitches, and things have gone wrong, and maybe the story was too short, and maybe the online stuff wasn't enough. There wasn't enough content. But here's some free stuff. But also, everything you're looking forward to has been delayed. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, everything I read,
it's madness.
The customer base is dwindling. Like, we haven't played it in weeks. We tried it that one time, and it was a pain in the ass. The fact that we've only
and we're going to go play games after this, and I don't want to play it tonight.
It won't be Avengers. No. And it's like,
no.
I just can't believe how badly it's gone. And we did say, and we were kind of, I think at the time we were trying to convince ourselves that it was a good game. We wanted to enjoy it, but because they went online, it's not quite worked out. Yes, it might be a good game in a year's time when it's on PS5 and upgraded, but I might not care by then.
No, I think this is what annoys me is I feel like as a day one buyer, I feel shafted. I feel like I've been punished for being an early adopter and jumping into this thing on day one, and them just throwing a few, coins to spend or whatever it may be. That ain't enough. You need to give me something more than that. You need to make me feel like a valued customer, because right now I've got a friend who's been asking me since day one, is this game worth buying? And I've kind of been like, just wait. It's not, the campaign's great, but it's not good enough to spend your full £60 on it or whatever it may be. So hold on, wait for it to go down in price. And I'm thinking, why didn't I take my own advice? Because this guy that I've given the advice to is going to get this game in maybe 6 months to a year's time, probably for less than half the price of what we paid, have a fixed version of what we played, as well as all the other extra content they're going to have thrown in, and probably the upgradable version on PS5 and Xbox Series X that we're not going to get as day one adopters of the PS5s. No.
No, I know. The only advantage would have been if you'd poured loads of hours in and really upgraded your character. But because we've abandoned the game, we're probably going to be at very similar points to those people picking it up in 6 months' time anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And now, if they had the Hawkeye or Kate Bishop stuff coming next week, I would have felt a bit more sort of that I spent my time wisely building my Iron Man up to power level 150. But right now, I feel, why did I spend those extra hours trying to get him to a high level for all this DLC that's coming? That's now not coming till next year, and I can't even carry it over to my PS5 straight away. Don't get me wrong, Avengers has had its issues, and we've just got over most of them then. But it was still one of the games I was looking forward to most trying on the PS5 and see if it ran any better, see if it was. And I can only assume, because of this announcement, that they know full well that it doesn't run very well on the PS5 either.
No, they can't release it.
I think they've got some serious issues here.
I thought we were pretty much already going to have the Kate Bishop stuff now. It was meant to be monthly.
Yeah, I thought so.
Soon after release.
Did you read the whole statement?
I read most of it, yeah.
So did they say that none of us wanted to read all the way down to the bottom? Read to the point where it's like, what free stuff am I getting? Not worth it. Cross. Yeah.
I read the apology and the free stuff. I didn't read when the delay was but then
okay,
it's been reported. I can find out.
Video game journalism at its best.
101. While Mike talks.
Yeah, while I talk, no pressure. I just think Avengers it has been a disaster. Don't get me wrong, I've had fun with it, and the amount of hours we've poured into it, I think, shows that there is something there. I mean, in my review, go check it out on the YouTube channel and at respawning.co.uk, cheap plug. I gave it a 7 out of 10. And I still stick by that even now, even with all the sort of disastrous apologies that have followed and everything else. I still think it's a good game. I don't think it's a bad game. In fact, I did a video that's probably up on the YouTube channel now, so go check that out, where I talk about the evolution of superhero games. And when you compare them to what we used to have with these terrible movie tie-ins, maybe we shouldn't be too butthurt about the state of Avengers, because it's still a lot better than what we used to have. So I don't know. Have you found that news yet, Have? Because I'm running out of words to say. And you
I agree with what you're saying. Like, but we can be butthurt because it's not as good as the other superhero video games we've got at the moment. It's
weird. It's like we've been on this climb for a while, where we had terrible superhero games like say all these horrible MCU tie-ins or whatever they were, and then we had Arkham Asylum and everything blew up. We had all the Arkham trilogy games that followed, and then we had Marvel Spider-Man, and then obviously the announcement of Miles Morales, and then obviously we had the announcement of Avengers, which looked great. Released, it is what it is, and that feels like we're almost going back down again. Sort of like we hit the peak of how good superhero games could be, and now it's threatening to dip again. Especially when you look at like Suicide Squad from Rocksteady, looks like it's going to go down the same road as Avengers. And Gotham Knights, still not 100% sure that I don't think they're quite going down the same road, but there's still an element of that online play to it. So
hopefully it's really decent 2-player co-op where they focus on the action. I think Suicide Squad, hopefully we'll look at Avengers and learn a lesson though. That's all you can hope.
Yeah, I hope so.
Kate Bishop was supposed to be now-ish, and they've said it's...
Okay, so it is delayed.
I know, but they've said it's possible it'll be out before the end of the year. So who knows?
There's some words of confidence.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Possible.
It's gone from being like out after about 6 weeks after release to you might get it before Christmas.
That's true.
But then when it comes out, like, am I going to bother logging in to play like probably an hour of story, like with the same grindy shitty maps?
And plus now they've burnt their bridges a little bit. So now I'm thinking like, okay, is it worth me jumping into the Kate Bishop stuff? Because am I going to get the Hawkeye stuff in a month's time, or am I going to get the Hawkeye stuff 3-4 months later because you guys can't get your asses into gear?
Yeah.
I think the whole thing's a mess. And like, if you're yet to buy Avengers and you're sitting on the fence, I'd wait a year and just see what the situation's like then. And if it hasn't changed, then just don't bother.
But then the problem is, like, what's a new?
Wait for it to go down to like an hour and do the campaign.
There might be like a new shiny thing then. There's going to be something else in a year's time that people are going to focus on, and they're going to have forgotten about Avengers, not going to be waiting for the updates and stuff like that. That's what I think. People say,
true.
Ubisoft online games are always good a year after release, but often, like, Breakpoint might be really good now, but no one's playing it.
No, exactly. And like, what was it, Anthem as well?
Yeah.
Everyone was going on about, that's got potential to be fixed. But even if they come out and say, it's great now, who cares? You can't shake that stigma sometimes. Once you've got that stink, it's hard to get rid of it, isn't it?
Like a skunk.
And Avengers is, Avengers is getting a little bit pongy right now. So I wouldn't say they're quite there yet. I don't think they're at the point of no return. But I think if they don't have their shit sorted out by the end of the year, like by if come Christmas Day, I can't play Avengers on my PS5, and there's no Kate Bishop update or anything, I think, that's when I might sort of turn my back on it, but I'm done with this. I can't be asked.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on to something a bit more upbeat, Sony did reveal the PS5 UI. Now, you haven't seen this, have you?
Very briefly, to be honest. I think it was a Facebook video.
So I'll sort of take you through what I was impressed by. I think the party settings were the thing that got me, that were like, I like that. There's a lot of incentives to just jump in parties all the time, even if you're not playing together. Because like one, it just looks super quick, super easy. You know, it doesn't. You know, it looks like you simply get one quick notification, one button pressure. There, everything looks quick and smooth. The whole thing they showed, everything's just one click here, one click there, bang, 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 jumping all over the place. But I like that you can, how easy it is to share your play with everyone now. So I could be playing, I don't know, I can't think of a game. I could be playing like God of War or whatever. You could be playing Avengers because you love that broken mess. And you could be trying to tell me, no, it's better now. And you could literally say, share your gameplay, bring it up in a little box, and I can carry on playing God of War, whatever, while I've got your little box of Avengers up in the corner going, and you're talking to me, look at this, look how cool this is. And it's literally just like a little box I can move around and stuff, and, you know, again, just hide it if I want. And yeah, it just looks super easy. And the whole quick resume thing, they were a bit sort of shady how they worded it, but to me, what it looked like they were trying to say was that when you turn the console on, it just comes up with the game you were playing. So you get the menu across the bottom, but the actual screen was the last game you were playing, even if it was not necessarily on rest mode, even if it was off. Like you'll have quick resume wherever you let, it'll have still quick resume on whatever game you were last playing. So you won't get, when you turn it on, you won't get PlayStation, login, menu. Like it would just be like, bang, here's your game.
What PlayStation are you using?
A PS4 Pro.
PlayStation.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean, though.
I think I was reading about this. People were saying, like they're talking about the Xbox, like how quick resume is it? Oh, I'm going to be really angry if I turn it off and the game doesn't come on. Like for me, it's not a big deal. Like yes, it'd be cool, of course. But if I do rest mode and the game comes back, I think that's really impressive. I think that's like, say for example, during the day, especially I'm out and about, I often rest it because especially while I'm not working, I'll come back and play for an hour, blah, blah. Whereas at night, I'll turn it off because I know I'm not going to play it till next day. That's fine for me. But yes, of course, if you turn it off completely and then jump straight back into the game the next day, yes, that would be quite cool. I don't understand how it works.
It is one of those things where I think I can only assume there's still a little. I imagine if you unplug it from the wall, then it can't work. Like there must be some sort of power still being fed console just to remember where you are. I don't know how it works. I've no idea. Unless the SSD or the memory card or whatever. Like I don't know my hardware that well. I'm no good at this stuff. But unless it just can remember the exact point you are in your game. Like save points have got to that point where it's just like as soon as you launch your console, it's like I remember exactly where you are. Go. You know,
I think if you unplugged it, it's probably got to be like an internet thing or something, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, but either way, it looked pretty cool. Like you literally turned it on, you had like Sackboy's Adventure just there. Oh, another little feature they had is you can like mid-game get game tips. So you can like press the PS button or whatever, and you know how at the moment where you can bring up information on the game, and it'll be like, oh, Javier's played this, Luke's played this, here's your trophy list. There's now an extra option for game help, and it'll go to like popular game websites, and it'll be like literally if you're stuck on a path, find a tip for this, and it will source one for you and be like, okay, this is what you have to do. And you know the way I said, like, it'll come up with a little video that you can watch your mates play. It'll come up with a video like on YouTube or whatever of a guide to do the bit you're actually on that you can have in the corner as you do it really if you want. That's really cool. Nice little feature. That's really cool. So yeah, they were the main points. It looked, stylish, I guess. It looked quite what you'd expect. It looked very easy to navigate and all the rest of it. The only other good thing that was worth noting was it now records in 4K, which will be good for us.
Yeah.
So expect our YouTube videos to be in 4K from about November onwards.
Some of our YouTube
we
videos.
do all our recording on the PlayStation. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Some people who are just too poor to buy PlayStation 5s will still be recording in. Like you still got to launch PS4, so you're recording in standard definition pretty much.
I know. I'm sorry about my YouTube 720, videos,
but it might as well be standard. Have just look like garbage, but they're very well put together.
Oh yeah,
and the audio is top quality.
Top quality audio. That's what cheap microphone does for you.
It's not on our list, but while we're talking user interfaces for PlayStations, I wanted to bring up the theme that they released last night. I think it was the Black Lives Matter theme. I just want to say that like all those people jumping in the comments of that. Have you seen this?
Awful.
Like people jumping in the comments, be like, "I'm gonna get an Xbox now," because they're basically racist pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Do it. Yeah. Basically, I just wanted to say that if you are one of those people, please, I don't want you in the PlayStation community. I don't want to ever come across you while playing online on my PlayStation. So, yeah, no, if you're offended by a free theme that you don't have to download, that's supporting a movement for good, that you don't have to look at it. You can literally just scroll past the post of them saying it's available. That if you've really got a problem where you feel you have to like cancel your Xbox pre-order, then fuck you. I just really, really hope that Microsoft announced a similar thing, and then they're like, "Fuck,
well,
they
have to because in some ways they have to jump on the bandwagon." But that's the thing. That's the problem with the internet is people just can't ignore stuff. They can't. If it's enraging you, you've probably got something wrong with you because I don't understand why that would make you angry. Any of the movement, but especially a fucking theme for a console. If that's making you angry, you probably need to see a counsellor or talk to someone, or have a fucking drink or a wank. Just do something about your life. If that's making you angry, just sort your shit out. But on the other hand, ignore it and don't buy a PlayStation 5 because we don't want you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't put it any better than that. So, moving on to another load of assholes in this industry. 2K.
More assholes in the gaming industry.
Yeah, that's just all this is. It's just like asshole of the day.
This is the Neggy podcast.
Try not to be. NBA 2K21 has quietly, like a month or so on from release, added in-game adverts, which is something EA did with UFC as well, and they quickly took it out when there was a big backlash. NBA also did it for 2K20, but if I'm right in saying they didn't do it until the game was on sale for like a $5, and that was just their way of making a bit of money back on being able to sell it so cheap. I don't think most people had a problem with that. I just want to sort of take this moment to say I think we give EA a lot of stick, especially the amount of EA games you and me play. And we always sort of go on about them being greedy bastards and stuff like that. But I think Take-Two has now taken the throne.
This is a new low. This is awful.
It's horrible, isn't it? And it's just the way they, especially so close to EA's UFC stuff, where it was very well publicized that nobody likes this stuff. And just the fact that they've done it so slyly as well. Yeah. Like if it was there at launch, people were like, wait, what the fuck? And then they took it away, you'd be like, okay, whatever. But the fact they've purposely not put it there on launch so that it doesn't affect reviews or anything like that. And then after all the reviews are done and everyone's bought the game and stuff, then they're like, yeah, okay, here's all your ads and stuff.
Here's
like
an update for adverts. Oh, thanks, 2K.
Yeah. What I will say is anyone who is suffering from this, I would just recommend you don't get it till it's cheap anyway. That's what I do. But if you happen to have it on the Switch, just play offline because then the adverts don't work. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I got 2K20 on the Switch and I just don't play it online and then the adverts don't work.
So. It's kind of like but it's like when didn't Crash Team Racing put in like payable characters way after release to like basically they were like, oh, you can have
they put in
Dragon, but you've got to pay like
reviews.
£15 or whatever. Like it's
that
terrible.
was so seedy, especially in basically what's a kid's game.
Yeah, yeah, but like this, it's like when Prime started putting in adverts for their own shows before like basically every episode.
Yeah.
It's like it's still, I know you can skip it, but I'm already paying for fucking service.
Yeah, I think we should never lose sight of that. If we're paying for something, never ever include adverts. It's the worst. It's the lowest of the low. It's like I don't want to turn this into the football podcast, but like at the moment with fans not being allowed into stadiums and you're having to pay for these games on pay-per-view and stuff like that. Apparently, so many of them have adverts. When I've only seen it with an EFL game I bought. So when we played Bristol City in the Cup, I'm a Villa fan for those who don't know. When we played Bristol City Cup, I bought it off EFL for £10, and it had adverts through the game. And I was like, I paid £10. I literally paid pay-per-view prices for this.
But Sky, why does Sky have adverts?
Because we're used to it, and we accepted it. That's the thing. When you accept these things over time, they become the norm.
But like Netflix, you wouldn't accept having adverts in it now.
No, and Netflix is cheaper than Sky.
But video games shouldn't have adverts. I don't.
Let's come back to the point.
Say you've got like a NBA kit with like someone's logo on it, or whatever. That's okay because that's cosmetic. It's fairly next. But having unskippable adverts in between your in-game games is mad. It's they're probably gonna say, "Oh, it makes them more realistic" or some bullshit.
Yeah, they try.
Oh.
I tell you what, when it was a problem with the UFC, I tell you what I didn't mind. So they had trailers playing like in between rounds and stuff. I will say I was kind of okay with it when it was the boys.
Yeah.
Just for that, But I suppose then if they started advertising something I hated, I'd be annoyed. But what I didn't mind, what I didn't mind in UFC was when they were sticking the adverts on the ring mat or on in the cage. And like on the sides and stuff like that, I was kind of okay with that.
Yeah,
and I think with
that makes it more realistic. That makes it more realistic because you would have that in an up to date UFC fight. You would have the latest movie on the side or whatever. That makes it more realistic, and that's not the end of the world.
I'm okay with that, and like I don't have, and that's in FIFA. I don't have a problem with that. Like in FIFA, when you're playing the game, you've got like the latest advertisements going around the advertisement board. Like you've got like whether it be like anything from Rolex watches to the next EA game or whatever it may be. There's different, and I've always been okay with that because that just makes it more realistic. And if you're going to put in adverts that way, I really don't have a problem with it. But don't shove in full-blown trailers in between.
The only way that I would
say
it's okay is when you have loading screens, if it's instead of loading screen and it's literally the same amount of time as loading screen would be normally, and once the game's loaded, it stops.
Yeah. Then we're about to enter into a generation where loading times are all but gone. So no, there's no point bringing that in now. Because if you're trying to tell us that the loading time for this is 30 seconds while we show a trailer, I'm not going to believe you on next gen.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, let's finish on a positive before we get out of here and go play some games. What you been playing, mate?
So 2 quite different games. I've been playing Dark Souls 3 3-way co-op, which sounds mad, but it's one of the best things I've ever done. So I've been doing it with Luke and Zeke, and we're all, pretty big fans of Souls games. We always bang on about it. So
shout out to Luke who couldn't make it.
Yeah, sure. Yes.
At times.
Amen to our brother.
Yeah. To our fallen friend. He'll be probably back in 2 weeks. He's not dead.
He's not dead. No, this is like when I took a week off. Right.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. Like if you're into Dark Souls, it's still hard. If you're into Dark Souls and you haven't played a co-op, just do it. Find a friend who's going to do it with you. It's so goddamn fun, and you have to do everything 3 times, which sounds a bit mad, but everything is a bit easier because obviously there's 3 of you taking on.
I suppose by the 3rd time as well, if you're doing a boss fight by the 3rd time,
just
exactly what to do.
You say that, but last night we got to the boss and we both, Luke and Zeke's played through the first time, got to mine, tried it 3 to 4 times, couldn't do it, so we just stopped for the night. I don't know what happened. Right. It was exactly the same boss.
Wait, on your one?
Yeah, on my one.
I think they're just trolling you, mate.
They're
trolling you.
They both just dropped their controllers.
Just watch you struggle and laugh.
And yeah, so that's really, really good. And then also I've been playing. I completed Paper Mario Origami King. As I say, if you've got a Switch and you like platformers, I can't recommend it enough. It's going to be in my top games of the year.
What score did you give it in your review in the end?
8.5. I'm still about there. It has its flaws, but I do still think it's probably aimed at a younger audience than me. I think even there's the bosses none of them are taking more than one go. Do you know what I mean? But as a simple fun playthrough for like playing in bed stuff, awesome. I've been playing on the Switch Zelda Link's Awakening and Remaster, which is absolutely amazing.
If you say it's better than
it's better than Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. Then me and you can't be friends.
I
haven't even played Link's Awakening, but I know it's not better than Breath of the Wild.
I'm sorry, Breath of the Wild is overhyped. It's the only game I've said it about really, but I don't get the hype. Oh, that and Friends. And then also
this is new information.
Friends is
I use a lot of Friends gifts, so they just go like straight over your head.
I know the references, but I just don't get the hype.
Okay.
I
don't get you. But,
I've also been playing, obviously, FIFA 21 and Persona 5. I've gotten really, really, really into.
I've always been tempted by Persona 5, but it's one of those things where it's like I just can't tell if I enjoy it or not. And the thing is now, because I've started getting into Final Fantasy games, that's completely like blown my head for like when I look at games like Persona 5, usually I look at them and think, that's probably not my sort of thing. And I know that Persona 5 and Final Fantasy are completely different things, but I'm just saying they're both that sort of Japanese style game where I usually like not necessarily like that much, but now like after my new Final Fantasy obsession has come out of nowhere, I feel like, would I like something like that, you know? But I dare not like, you know, spend however much just to try
like
it, but...
you like Pokemon. I mean, you like the original Pokemon games. So this is like a mature Pokemon. It's the best way to just like you capture these kind of demons by basically kind of like defeat, but instead of defeating them, you talk to them. So it's like it's a very different take. So you talk to them and you have to convince them and say the right things to make them come over to your side. And what I really like is that when to make new ones, you have to combine them instead of involving them. Like you combine two different ones and they become something else. And I really like that mechanic. And then around it, you have to manage like your school life. You get a part-time job, but you've only got so much time. Like you can only do one or two things per day. So you have to like decide like, oh, do I want to study? Because obviously around like the whole thing, there's attributes. So depending on what you do, you'll be better at this, that, or the other in the demon world. So you have to decide like, do I want to work out or do I want to go and earn some money so I can buy better gear? But you can only do a limited amount of things per week.
I mean, this is close to real life to you, isn't it, mate?
You know me, I love bloody backpacks and inventories and games, so I'm all over this
Japanese
time
anime
management
style. Exactly what I have once in a video game.
But yeah, I can't believe I have never really played properly before. Anyway, I'll let you get. You go.
Let me talk about my game tab. Also, we're probably running out of like Zoom call time. So.
It hasn't given me the warning yet.
Yeah, but then it will, and then I'll be like ready to talk about my games. Like, oh, we've got 3 minutes left, and I'll be playing Ghost of Tsushima, I've been playing FIFA. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. So I platinum Ghost. Tsushima finally, about 3 months after the rest of the world platinumed it. I think my opinions haven't changed from what I've been saying for weeks now. I think it's a very, very good game. In fact, I think it's a great game, but it doesn't quite hit top caliber for me. Like I think I settled on a score of like 8.5, just because it's just, if it could have easily been a 9. It's got everything it needs to be a solid 9 out of 10 game. It's just a bit bloated. There was just too many things that I was doing over and over again. And what Luke said was completely right about getting that platinum. I was thankful that, you know, I was watching the G1 every morning, Japanese wrestling, for like 3 hours a morning. And while I was doing that, I was just like grinding the platinum. And all it is, there's no effort to it. All it is going and finding these little foxes' dens, following the fox to a shrine, praying at the shrine, finding a little place you can make a bloody Haku poem thing and be like, flowing trees, still water, armies coming.
What's the point?
You don't have to do that, because I think I wouldn't have gone for the platinum if I did. It lures you in, you see. It's clever, because I think it's very hard to complete the game and not be on at least 70%. And then you look through the trophies and you think, that's easy. You think, oh, fuck, this is a piss easy platinum. I might as well. And then don't realize how time consuming it is. And then like once you've already put in an hour or two of doing that stuff, you're like, I might as well put in another couple of hours. I've come this far, you know, and you get sucked into that platinum addiction that you know all too well. Don't pretend you don't.
I do.
So yeah, I wouldn't say it ruined it, and I think that's it's harsh to say that like, oh, going for the platinum ruined it and I need to, you know, knock my score down for it, because you know, that's not necessarily the selling point of a game, is how hard the platinum is, what you have to do to get the platinum. But it wasn't just because of the platinum. Just in general, if you're one of these people who want to do something every time you see it and don't like walking past something that's still lit up on your map as not done, you're going to get very bored very quickly on all the repetitive crap that's in there. And I think that's the same with most games now. I think most open world games suffer from that open world fatigue that we always talk about. And I think Ghost of Tsushima is the latest example of that. But everything else in that game was super fun. Like I enjoyed the story come the end. I did think the middle of the story dropped off a little bit. But again, you can rush through that if you want. So it won't be too bad if you're just doing the main story. Come the end, I was well into it. I loved the ending. I loved the way my character was come the end. I love the combat, especially at the end, which you've maxed everything out and you're like a mixture of a badass ninja and an unstoppable samurai that everyone's terrified of. Like, it just felt so good to play, and I actually miss it now. I've finished it and I've uninstalled it and everything, so I've got no interest on the online co-op side of it. that I do kind of miss it. Like I love the gameplay that much, and I love just going around the island, which looks stunning. By the way, it's one of the best looking games. I'd say it's probably the best looking game I played this year. If Last of Us 2 hadn't come out.
Oh wow, that's high praise.
Yeah, but I would weirdly, it's one of those games that benefits, a lot from 4K and HDR, because when I recorded footage for it, obviously the PS4 you can't record in 4K and HDR, so I had to downgrade it to 1080 with the HDR off, and all of a sudden I was like, this looks like a different game. This looks murky as hell, and they do use like vibrant colors and that very cleverly, I think, to make it look amazing when you're playing with all the bells and whistles on it. But so yeah, great looking game, played well, great story, just a bit bloated. I felt about an 8.5 come the end. And yeah, other than that, I'm playing FIFA, and I started finally Final Fantasy 15. Yeah, 15. I'm still not up to date with the numbers.
Am I right in thinking? And your platinum trophy, sorry, we'll go back to your platinum trophies before this would have been Last of Us 2, Spider-Man, and God of War.
For this generation?
Well, just your last few.
Yeah, and Fallen Order.
See, I mean, that puts,
platinum for...
like, considering those are all amazing games, it kind of puts Ghost of Tsushima quite high. Do you know what I mean? Because you've taken the time to platinum it. There's not many games you take the time to platinum anymore.
But that's true. But it goes back to what I was saying. I don't think I would. If I had finished it and I was on 60%, I wouldn't have bothered.
Yeah.
It's only because I was at like 70 or over that I felt close to it. I felt like I was close to it anyway, and it felt more like I might as well, rather than where with God of War, Fallen Order, Last of Us Part 2 especially, with those games, I was like, I want to do more. Like Last of Us was a great example. Like, to get the platinum on Last of Us, you pretty much have to play the game a second time. Not quite, you don't have to do a full second playthrough. You could do chapter select to get all the bits you missed. But I was looking at it like, I want an excuse to play this again straight away. And I said, I just played it again with the collectibles guide and had a hell of a time. Like, all the way to the point where that platinum pinged with Last of Us Part 2, I was having a great time. Like, I loved it. Well, as much of a great time as you can have with the most depressing story of all time. But you know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas with Ghost, it did feel like I was grinding it at the end and just being like, ugh. If I would recommend, if you did ever go back to it, which I don't think you will, but if you did, I would recommend just trying to collect as much as you can before the end. And then, because I think if I had played the game and done the collectibles before the last mission, and then all I had to do was do the last mission to get the platinum, I think I would have finished on much more of a high, because that last mission was so much fun. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. Like I said, I've been playing FIFA, which we've talked about to death, so I won't go into that again. And and I don't really want to talk about Final Fantasy 15 yet. One, because it's an old game, and two, because I've genuinely played an hour. So I don't think. All I will say is, for somebody who got into all this through Remake, I can see why you and Luke were saying this is the closest thing to Remake you'll be able to play. Yeah, it completely is. Like, straight away, I love the combat. I love the combat. I love the visuals. I love the look of it. I love the feel of it. Even it's very weird that I never thought I'd play a Final Fantasy game where everyone's driving around on roads and cars. But that was very odd. I was like,
it's the most
Final Fantasy or GTA.
It's the most Western Final Fantasy game, I would say.
And one point where he pulls out a mobile phone, I'm like, what?
Yeah, who is this? Yeah.
What is happening? But yeah, that's me. So yeah, next time I'll let you know what I really think of Final Fantasy 15, because hopefully by that point I'll be quite far into it.
Oh, so. I forgot a important one. I've also been playing Scourgebringer, which I reviewed. So
that.
Yeah, just to plug it, but if you like Metroidvanias or roguelikes, or you're like into Dead Cells, all those sorts of games, check it out. I mean, it's like 15 quid. I think it's coming out on Xbox, Switch, and PC. And it's really fun. It's really, really hard. Like, I have not got very far, but it's one of those games that I can jump on and play for like 10 minutes at a time, just kind of mess around on. But
can I just say, I liked in your video review for it, you were like, and it might look like I'm using the same footage over and over again, and that's because I am. I can't get past this bit.
Yeah, so. Yeah. It's because I played it for like pretty much all weekend. I just, like on and off, and I couldn't get that far, but I still kept, like, because I like the music and the aesthetics, and the combat's really good. I know I've just got to keep grinding away to get like more powerful abilities, but it takes a while, you know. But I think
for me,
they're smart about it.
For me, if a game's got a metal soundtrack, it like starts at a 6 or a 7.
Yeah,
and it can only go up from there.
Yeah.
You know, straight away. It's like you
You're gonna enjoy it more.
Here's a little tip for you developers. If you want a high score from a metal soundtrack, you're off to a good start. You don't have to do too much more after that.
That's a really good idea for some content.
The best metal soundtrack.
Best video
Keep
games.
an eye out for
best
that.
video games and metal soundtracks coming your way.
Sold. And on that note, we will ask you to make sure you are subscribed to the Respawning YouTube channel for a video about metal songs in games coming up soon, maybe. And to check out the website respawning.co.uk, and to make sure you're subscribed to this very podcast on iTunes and Spotify and Google and wherever else you find podcasts. We are on the majority of them. Anything else you want to plug before we get out of here, Have?
Me. Keep watching.
Me, I'll plug you.
Every Friday you'll get in either a flash review or a lightning cave. You know, haven't managed to do both yet, but I'm editing myself now, so I'm learning the ropes. So please check out my stuff. Let me know what you think. It's more natural because I can put across on video exactly what I want to say and use exactly the correct clip. Use the exact correct clips so they get someone to try and understand what's going on inside my head, which even I don't really understand at times.
I've never understood it.
No. And yeah, like, you know, keep your eye out for all the spectacular streams. I know Will's done one this week. Luke's, by the time this goes out, Luke would have done another one. We're going to do Man and Medan.
And you guys played Man and Medan.
Yeah, we've done part 1. Part 2 probably won't be out by the time this is out, but it will be very soon because we need to finish it before Halloween.
Which was brilliant, by the way. Watching you two not realising you were trying to kill each other.
I need to watch that back. I need to watch that back, actually.
Gold. We need to try to get it off Twitch, but that's a job for another time. Right, on that note, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.